Okay, here we go with a presentation about color. Some repetition from your book, but some new things too. My view on color, important information for quizzes and so on. So you should have read about the difference between subtractive and additive color. Subtractive color is what we see on print, on paper. The more color we add, the closer we get to black. When we add full color, we get black. Add all the paints together, you get black. Therefore, you get less light coming out back to your eye. However, on the web and on screens of all kinds, like TVs and everything, we use additive color. The more color you add, the closer you get to white. And when 100% color, all the light added together equals white. So we often talk about RGB, red, green, blue. When we put those together, put red and green full together, we get yellow. Red and blue, we get magenta. Green and blue, we get cyan. Put all those together, we get white. So how do we describe colors? Really, we care about describing them in CSS. Well, we could use names. There's lots of good color names. Look at your text on these pages. For instance, the name red, blue, purple, or lemon chiffon. But honestly, and although it's good to look at those pages and get some color ideas, professional web designers rarely use named colors because they don't want to be stuck with lemon chiffon. They want to get something which is almost lemon chiffon, slightly different than lemon chiffon. To do that, you have to describe the color exactly. And the most common ways to do that are RGBA codes, red, green, blue, RGB. A is something different. We probably won't be doing that. And hex or hexadecimal values. So RGB color, how does it work? Well, each of those things, red, green, blue, can have a value of anything from 0, which means none, of course, to 255, which means all, or 100%. And we could use percents instead, but we usually don't, because if we use the numbers scale, we can go from 0, we have 255 spots on the scale, which is more than 100 spots on the scale. So we can get more exact with the numbers. So this is how we write them. This is the grammar. Of course, this is CSS, so you have a selector. You have your curly brackets, right? And you have properties and attributes. We have color, which means foreground color, like color of text. RGB, so that's what we're going to use, our red, green, blue, and then 200, 178, 230, or use percents, separated by commas, within parentheses, followed by the semicolon, which always ends our declaration. And this says, on a scale of 0 to 255, give me 200 of red. Give me 178 of green. Give me 230 of blue, which equals these percentages. What does that really mean? Well, let's look at this illustration down here. If I want to make white, I told you it's all the color. It's 100%. And it is 100%, which is the same as 255. So I would write in these positions, I'd write 255 in each of them, or 100% in each of them, and I would get white. Gray would be about half color. So I would write 128 or 50% in each of those positions, and I would get gray. Black is, of course, no color. So I would write 0 or 0%, same thing, and I would get black. No light, no color. Or I could choose to get pleasant lavender, which would be 70%, 78%, 90%, or 178. Sorry, start red, makes more sense. 200, 178, 230, which is these numbers right here. So if I wrote a color like this, I would get pleasant lavender. The other way to write color is the hex codes. It works a similar way. I mean, it has a similar result. It works differently, but they are preceded in the CSS by a hashtag. Otherwise, this is still a CSS. And this means paragraphs, all of them, I guess, have a color of this. Well, what the heck is this? We tend to write hex codes with uppercase letters and numbers. They have to be letters and numbers. It's because of the different counting system. But the first two digits, and C is a digit here, C8 means red. B2, that's how much green. E6, that's how much blue. What is this, like bingo or something? B2, C8, E6. No, these are numbers on a scale. Hexadecimal is a 16-base system, where 00 means no color, or black, and FF means all the color. And if we have FF, FF, and FF for red, green, blue, that means white. 00000 equals black. When these numbers duplicate, like 00, we can write them as just a triple, as opposed to having all 6 in there. Same thing with this one for F's. And there'll be other cases that they duplicate. Isn't that unusual, actually? But you may still not get it, like 00FF. What the heck are you talking about? Well, here's a video, which I hope plays okay in my video of the video. But if it doesn't, just go to the PDF of this presentation. Of course, like my other presentations, it's available in PDF format on Moodle. And then go to this link yourself, and you will find it. So let's go take a look at how to count in hex.
Hi friends, I just wanted to show you this table that I made for converting between base 10 and base 16. This is actually more about counting, okay? So this column is how we normally count, right? That's base 10. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and so on. And here we notice that we're not going to have 10 until we got 15 in the ones column. Well, how are we going to do that? Well, what we're going to use is extra characters. Well, we're going to use letters to fill in. This means 10 ones, 11 ones, 12 ones, 13 ones, 14 ones, 15 ones, 1, 16, and 0 ones. Okay? Because in base 16, we have the ones place, the 16s place, then the 16 times 16s place, which is the 256th place, and so on. So you can look at this table right now, or you can pause, or you can watch it in the background when I show you my little hexadecimal base 16 odometer that I made. Basically, it's like an odometer in a crazy car where the numbers just go up, and usually when you get to 9, this would go to a 1. That's how we count in base 10. But since this counts in hexadecimal, notice 8, 9, 10 ones, 11 ones, 12 ones, that's C, 13 ones, 14 ones, 15 ones. Then we go to 10, which means 116 and 0 ones, okay? And then we count again, 11, 12, this is in hexadecimal, 13, 14. So this is actually more than 15. If we counted how many miles we had gone, it would be more than 15. In fact, it would be 16 plus 5, because this is the 16's place. This is the 1's place, 16's place, 256's place. All right? This would be 16 plus 5, 21 miles, going. Oh, 1A, how much is that? Well, that's 16, and this is A is 10 ones. So this would be 16 plus 10, 26 miles for us, but only 1A for people driving this hex car. Oh, and here comes 1F. 1F plus 1 is 20 in hex. All right?
So you can watch some more of that if you wish. I'm sure you're all going to go out and make your own hex odometers. Did you catch that number that he said, 256? So 2 digits of hex can go up to 255. That's similar to using RGBs. Okay, so other formats. There are other formats, and I keep saying RGBA by accident when I mean RGB. There is an RGBA. You used it in the Color 1 assignment. Maybe you use it other places too. It adds opacity. Interesting, you can try HSL, read about those, and let's continue. Picking colors. So that's how you write a color in CSS. How do you decide what colors you want to use? Well, you should recognize, of course, color has emotional meanings. Red is aggressive, blue is calming, purple is romantic, brown is earthy, so on and so forth. So what are those meanings? Well, the best thing to do would be to think about yourself and the people you're writing your website for, and what kinds of colors, what emotional meanings colors will have for them, right? But you can also go to some websites, and there's many. Here's an example of one. Let me make this bigger. which talks about the emotional meanings of colors. Of course, red, there's actually a lot more than just red. There's light red, pink, dark red, and much more specific than that. But red means the color of fire and blood, war, energy, strength, power, determination. Lots of sports sites have lots of red on them, actually. So you could think about, is red the right color for you? Does that describe you in the case of your resume? Or if you were making some other website, perhaps a magazine website for music, for instance, what kind of music is it? What kind of colors are associated with that music, for instance? And what emotions do you want to project? Orange as the energy of red and the happiness of yellow. You can go on analyzing colors and what they mean for people, and even get more specific, right? Gold is prestige, illumination, wisdom, wealth. Yellow, sunshine, intellect, energy, yes, but it could mean caution, decay, sickness, and jealousy. And green, and so on. I'll let you look through these yourself, but do recognize at least the basic ideas of the emotional meanings of these colors. Blue, depth, stability. Purple, royalty, power, nobility, luxury. White, purity, virginity, so on and so forth. Okay, beyond basic emotional meaning, colors have different cultural, ethnic meanings. In other words, meanings for different cultural and ethnic groups. So if you are creating a website for a particular part of the world, particular cultural group, particular ethnic group, you would want to know what those colors you were picking meant for them. And here's a website you can go to learn more about that. Here it is also. So for instance, let me scroll up and say that red means something very different in Russia, perhaps, although it's awful broad to say Russia when there's so many cultural and ethnic groups in Russia, really. And then it might mean in India, where maybe it means purity. This is a gross generalization. You'd want to get more specific. There are also a lot of cultural and ethnic groups within India. But that's a very different meaning than the general Western meaning of excitement, danger, love, passion, and so on, right? And pink means something very different in the Western world, love, babies, Valentine's Day, as opposed to in the Eastern world, it might mean marriage. Well, that's similar. Trust, so on. Think about orange, gold, yellow. Yellow has very specific meanings in the Western world, as opposed to in India, for instance, in China. But again, a gross generalization because China is an enormous country with many cultural ethnic groups. Still, you'd want to find out what the cultural and ethnic meanings are of the colors you're choosing if you were targeting a certain group with your website. Okay, let's continue. Or I'm trying to. Here it goes. Okay, institutional meanings. So, guess what color you would use if you were going to be doing creating a website about Cardinal sports? Probably a lot of red, right? What if you were going to make a website for UPS? Probably lots of brown, for instance. Sports teams have obvious institutional colors. Schools, colleges, for instance, high schools have obvious institutional colors. Businesses have branded themselves with colors. Those are institutional meanings of colors. Some sectors are associated with colors. For instance, healthcare. There's a lot of pale green, a lot of blue. Those are colors we associate with cleanliness. And I think if you're looking at hospital websites, you would want that to be a color that you see. So entire sectors of businesses, for instance, often use certain groups of colors. So that would be something else to consider if you're creating a website, and the meanings that come along with those colors may be institutional meanings. Okay, so you should just go out on your own to lots of websites all over the place and look at the colors they use and start to imagine, why are they picking those colors? What are the meanings? But we can also, of course, just say there are certain websites that have very specific colors or almost no color at all. The most important website in the world, the most famous website in the world, probably, I think so, Google, uses extremely small amounts of color, carefully chosen, right? On the other hand, I used to choose